Sui Crypto is probably one of the most exciting crypto projects that has been launched in recent months. It's building towards a technology that's going to outcompete all other layer ones out there, and they're targeting an area of the market which I'm extremely bullish on. There's some extremely exciting things happening at Sui, and it's definitely one that should be on your watch list. Given the condition of the market right now, we could be looking at a fantastic time to be getting into Sui Crypto, and we'll be looking at my price predictions later on in the video. So do me a favor, hit that like button, and let's get into today's Sui Crypto video. So first of all, when looking at Sui, we'll want to identify the team that is behind the project. There's a few areas I think really build for a blue chip crypto going forward, and the first thing we looked at is the team. The second thing we'll then look into the funding, what they're then identifying as the key areas for growth, and as well as that, whether or not we can pick it up at a discounted price. So the team originally were over at Facebook working on the Libra program, which was to bring in a currency that could be used on Facebook. This project failed to capture the imagination of investors, and from there the team then moved across and created Mysten Labs. In 2021, Mysten Labs was able to raise $30 million. Following this, a further $300 million was then raised in venture capital from FTX, Binance Labs, and Circle. A team that's able to raise this kind of funding early on is something that we must pay attention to, because this is how you find the likes of Solana before they blew up into monster market cap coins during the last bull market. So what exactly is Sui, and how is it different from other existing layer ones in the extremely competitive space? Well, Sui was originally brought in to try and compete with Ethereum. It works on a delegated proof of stake mechanism that is able to deliver over 300,000 transactions per second, which is, as you can imagine, insanely fast. Right now, however, it's in the earlier stages of development, and the amount of transactions per second is reduced to below that figure. Sui boasts incredible speed and security. However, for that, it gives up some decentralization, having only 100 validators, which they have hand selected in order to be able to run this protocol. It works in a slightly different way from other layer ones, in that it has a technology that identifies different transactions that are coming through. The validator nodes do not record transaction history, and this enables them to be able to produce transactions extremely fast. This, however, is not a problem because the full nodes then record the transaction history. A technology called Narwhal will identify which transactions will be siphoned off through each type of node as they come in, and this makes for an extremely fast and efficient blockchain. There are, however, around 2,000 full nodes in operation, and this helps a little towards the decentralization, although that's still one of the key areas to pay attention to. Sui is slightly different from Ethereum. While it's trying to compete with Ethereum, ultimately it's tracking tokens moving from one place to another, rather than Ethereum, which identifies what's happening in different wallets. This actually makes it much faster than Ethereum, and also means that you have true ownership of the tokens that you hold, rather than in an Ethereum network where ultimately you own the wallet, not necessarily the tokens within that wallet. Sui is built on Move programming language, which is the same as Aptos, and is based on Rust, which is used by Solana and other chains like Polkadot. The Sui token itself is used for transaction fees, staking rewards, and in the future to be used for governance. You can get up to 8% in staking rewards, and it only takes 24 hours to unlock staking, which is extremely exciting in my opinion. The extension wallet has already been downloaded by over 1 million users worldwide, and that is another extremely positive thing. We want to get a big user base coming in, and especially during the midst of a bear market, this is a great thing to be seeing right now. However, something that does cause a little bit of concern is later on this year, we will be potentially seeing a big unlock of tokens coming forward. And that is probably one thing that we really need to pay attention to. If we look at the market cap, currently sat there at around $500 million, the fully diluted market cap then sits at $10.4 billion. Which means that only 5% of the circulating supply is currently available. This normally is a massive red flag for me, but hold on, let's see what else Sui has got to offer and what it's really been working on. Sui has already recruited a lot of institutional investment, which is quite rare given the conditions in the market right now. The Sui Foundation has partnered with a BitGo for digital asset management. This is very important to see institutions climbing on board right now, because it shows that they have faith despite the massive token unlocks that might be happening later on this year, to be able to drive the price forward. Another huge thing that Sui is doing, and a very smart move in my opinion, they're trying to push for development in Asia. I've already identified on this channel before what is really happening in Asia with regards to crypto and picking up the slack that's now coming out of the USA due to heavy regulation coming in over there. We're seeing the likes of Indonesia, Singapore, and now Hong Kong starting to really drive forward development in cryptocurrency and investment in the space. With massive shift in regulation happening in Hong Kong on June the 1st, individuals are going to be able to release a huge amount of money into the crypto markets. Now, if you weren't already aware, Hong Kong obviously is a part of China, but with slightly different regulation from mainland China itself. There is a huge amount of money available in China right now. Many of the multi-billionaires in China have a little bit of a problem getting their money out of the country. I know that many of these individuals happen to have as well Hong Kong passports, and this will enable them to be able to move money from mainland China into Hong Kong and then move it out of Hong Kong through cryptocurrency. This is probably what I think will be the catalyst that gets the bull market up and running this year. Sui has just signed a massive deal with Alibaba, which is effectively the kind of Amazon, if you like, of China, which has a $235 billion market cap. Now, something else that I love on this channel is GameFi. I don't love it because I'm into gaming, but I love it because I foresee that this is probably where we're going to see the most growth in the crypto market in the next couple of years. That's because the gaming world itself is absolutely booming. And not only that, blockchain gaming itself, a bigger and bigger portion of that pie every single day now. Over on Decrypt, we can see that Sui is built for games, and here's why developers are bullish. Sui have identified this is the area of the market they wish to target, and this is where they're going to see the most growth. Already, there's over 40 games being built on Sui, and we can anticipate that number increasing all the time. There's around 200 dApps that have also been built on Sui. I think that the level of encouragement that they're seeing over there is also an extremely positive thing. And one of my biggest issues when it comes to crypto, there's two types of people that you need to get a crypto project going. And unfortunately, these individuals tend to have very different, contrasting mindsets. You have the developer. The developer themselves is obviously responsible for creating the incredible tech, but not to typecast too much. These individuals don't always tend to be the best for marketing and getting the word out there about really how good their project is. Vitalik Buterin is a bit of an example of this. While a phenomenally smart mind who's great at tech, have you ever seen him take an interview? Necessarily the most charismatic person to be driving projects forward. In the past, we've seen Algorand and Polkadot suffer from similar things. Incredible projects, but the marketing is really off. I think this is why we've seen Sui come out and say that the aim is to onboard 1 billion users into Web3. Them, along with everyone else, are trying to achieve this. With smarter marketing teams behind them, they could perhaps develop a better use case, or at least a use case that the public is going to be able to really get on board with. I think if they could do this, then Sui stands to be a phenomenal investment going forward. As we look back to CoinMarketCap, today we're seeing Sui being down 7%. That is because, in my opinion, Bitcoin and crypto in general could well be about to take a little bit of a slide towards the downside. Their focus is into Asia. That means that they are not available on any American exchanges right now. There's obviously a problem. The American market for crypto is enormous, but there's a big reason behind this perhaps, that they are obviously trying to avoid being brought into the whole drama with the SEC. If you are in America, then you might find it difficult to go and buy Sui right now. But don't worry guys, as always, I've got you covered. Down below in the description is a link for NordVPN. If you use that link, you'll get 3 months free today. This will enable you, whether you are in America, the UK, China, wherever in the world, to be able to access whatever exchange you want in order to be able to trade the cryptocurrencies that you want to buy. Not only that, if you're trading cryptocurrency, this is an essential piece of kit because it's going to help protect you against hackers and other people who could be using malware to spy on what you're doing. If you really want to be safe in crypto, then it is essential that you use a VPN. Not only that, but it will also expand your Netflix experience. I'm from the UK, where we have lots of TV shows. If I want to get good movies, I can connect to an American IP address, and then I can access tons of different movies from Netflix as well. So looking across to the Sui chart, this is in Binance, and we saw a massive surge in the price, obviously on the launch date that got onto Binance. Now what we're seeing is slightly interesting here. Now what I like to identify, guys, is a good, healthy buy zone in cryptocurrency. Now what we can see right now is an area of interest. Why is it interesting to me? Well, you can see that what happened every time that we arrived back in this area around $1.03, we can see that the price surged out of this area every time. Would we then therefore anticipate another surge towards the upside? In this situation, guys, I'm going to say no, and this is probably not the right time to pull the trigger on SUI. That's obviously not financial advice. I could be wrong, but hear me out. As we know, what happens in cryptocurrency is the price of other coins will tend to follow Bitcoin. When Bitcoin is struggling, those other cryptocurrencies will also tend to struggle too. So as we look into this daily chart on Bitcoin, we can see something that has been playing out. We've got a shoulder, a head, and another shoulder. This is an extremely bearish pattern for Bitcoin, and we are starting to see a little bit of a problem developing in this area here. Now, as we focus on this area for Bitcoin, you can see that we've been revisiting this area between $25,800 and $26,800. The more we get squeezed into this area, every single time I want you to consider what's happening. It's absorbing all of the buy pressure every single time. However, the sellers are keen to revisit that area as much as possible. The more we revisit that area, the less chance you're going to get for bouncing out of it. So this, typically, you would identify as a buy zone, and we can see that it is being bought up a little in this area. However, nothing significant is happening right now, that given that the tops on Bitcoin are coming in lower and lower, you would identify that at some point we are likely to slide lower down than this. Therefore, the next identifiable buy zone for me on Bitcoin is somewhere in this region. I'm going to move it up a little bit because this was the previous resistance area, and you can see we had a bit of a sideways action before bursting out of this zone. I believe that if Bitcoin is able to get down to around $24,600, it's going to drag the rest of the cryptocurrency market, including the likes of SUI, down by a good 20% or so. What we see happen from Bitcoin in this area is going to be essential. If we see something happen like this, where we break towards the downside and then push back up, that for me is the indicator that the bull market is on and crypto is about to see some dizzying heights again. So looking onto the daily, how do we identify with the information we've got where this could be really going? Well, we can bring in the old friend, the Fibonacci retracement. Now what we can do is we can take from this swing low down here to the swing high, and we can identify potential for retracement. Now, as you might be aware, the 1.618 golden ratio Fibonacci number is down here 89 cents. Now, if SUI is going to be able to break below these lows, the next line in the sand for us is sat there at 89 cents. Now, is it worth waiting? Well, we have potential then to get a 15% discount on SUI. Will it stop at 1.618? No guarantees, but this gives us an opportunity to be able to get into cheaper. And given the upside potential that I think SUI is going to have going forward, then we're onto a bit of a winner. Now, obviously we have those unlocks coming on later this year, which could create some sell pressure. So there's no guarantees that they're not going to creep a little bit lower. But SUI ultimately will drive forward with the rest of the crypto market. If we're seeing huge growth in crypto going forward, is Bitcoin is able, either where it is right now, or avoid a drop significantly below like $22,000 to $24,000, then I think this is a great time to be potentially at least having some exposure to SUI. Also, because they're not currently on exchanges in America, when they do potentially get launched onto the likes of Coinbase, then you could see the price explode even further. There's not many coins out there right now in the top sort of 50 with blue chip quality that haven't already launched onto the likes of Coinbase right now. This for me is an extremely exciting prospect and something that is well worth when deciding whether or not this is something you want to invest in. So in summary, guys, SUI is a layer 1 trying to compete with Ethereum in a heavily competitive space. They've identified a huge area of growth that is Asia, particularly focusing on mobile phone gaming, which again has been taking off in recent years. There's a huge unlock of tokens, which makes for slightly less favorable conditions, but a great team that's well funded and a lot of great news that could still be on the horizon. Guys, if you enjoyed that SUI crypto update today, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you want to get involved in my Telegram, it's absolutely free and linked down below in the description. Also, make sure you get yourself hooked up with a NordVPN. Subscribe, guys, and I'll see you in the very next video. Bye-bye.